Morning, this is Brian. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026, and I'm back at my beloved Mission Trails for another hike up to Kwaay Paay Peak. It's been well over a year, 3/4, since I've hiked up there. I'm parked here at the Brushy Hill Trailhead. Parked at the Brushy Hill Trailhead. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and head up to the Kwaay Paay Peak Trailhead and start my way up. Buddy. See at the trailhead, the official trailhead. There's a rooster. There's a rooster cawing over there. Huh. Interesting. A random rooster. Okay. Interesting start to my morning. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Alright. Going up here to the Kwaay Paay Peak Trailhead. This is going to be a relatively short one and done. Actually a nice chilly morning out today. Temperatures are in the 30s right now down here. I think the temperatures are in the high 30s maybe. It's actually chilly, which is a good way to start off a hike. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the regular Kwaay Paay Trail. Could take that one. It's like dogs and coyotes. Alright, so I'm just going to take the direct route. Start climbing up this. It's pretty green over here. All from late December to early January. Alright. Yeah, nice cool morning out here. Definitely helped me as I climb up this steep trail to Kwaay Paay Peak. Yeah, last time I was here is mid-April of 2024. So, alright, catch you up the way. Now, one thing about the Kwaay Paay Peak Trail, short distance, but it's definitely pretty much a pretty steep grind most of the way up and down. Just remember that. It's worth it. It's great exercise. Short distance, you can see where the trailhead is down there. Right next to where that small tree is. Yeah. Waste no time. Waste no time. I've done this peak a good few times already. If I were to do the 5 major peaks in one day challenge, I'd probably start off with this one, then do the Fortunas, then Coles and Piles. Or, no, I think I'd start with Coles and Piles first. How busy that area gets. Then do this one and then the Fortunas. You pretty much see the route ahead of you. It's going to follow that ridge up to a flat, small plateau section, and it's going to make a climb up to that point up there, and then the peak will be off to the right. So whoever's not done this hike before or seen my videos, other videos on Kwaay Paay, get a general gist of this. Doesn't have huge switchbacks like some of the other hikes. Alright, so here we've hit a small lull. We're actually going downhill for a short distance. Like I said, we're basically going to be going up to that ridge up there. There are different trails on the lower portions of Kwaay Paay. You probably saw one of my previous clips as I was getting started, where you can start from slightly different directions and then meet up. Eventually the trails will meet up before working their way up. There's a Kwaay Paay West, which you saw me bypass. And I think there's a Kwaay Paay East as well. I think I've gone up at least 2 different ways. Now I'm getting this peak, climbed early so I can avoid the heat. It's supposed to be quite hot today, actually. So I'm doing it early. At least I'll have visited the peak, got back down. This will be my last hike for my January 2026 vacation. I have to see what next week will bring. I'm not sure because it's supposed to be very hot. Could possibly go to the mountains. Ooh, Cleveland shooting stars. Oh, they're already starting to bloom. Right here. Primula Clevelandi, Friday Clevelandi, Cleveland shooting stars. Used to be in the genus Dodecatheon. Yeah, this is a pretty good trail to see vernal wildflowers. That's cool. That's really neat. Pretty neat. All right. So eventually, we're gonna meet up with that ridge. We're gonna get a very short plateau, and then it's steeply up a bunch of stairs to get up to the high ramparts of Kwaay Paay Peak. All right. See you along the way. Here's one trail junction here. So the Kwaay Paay East Trail. So this comes up from the eastern side and meets up from Father Junipero Serra. Pretty cool. All right, onward and upward. All right, so here we go. Ooh, look at that. Pentagramma ferns. These little guys. Looks like a species of, or subspecies of Triangularis, I believe. A little shadier portions. Pretty cool. Ready to start turning up towards the ridge. Our microcarpus. Spiny cucumber. All right. Pretty cool. Here's one of my little stopover waypoints. I always enjoy seeing this toy on right here. Always enjoy seeing this guy. Always have to come over here and stop off and look at this beautiful Heteromeles arbutifolia. Here's a beauty. Always have to stop over at this toyon. Look at all those multiple trunks. There's a pretty big root burl in there as well. These things form these big lignotubers or root burls from which they sprout when cut down or burned down by fire. Yep. That is how we do it here in the coastal sage scrub and chaparral, especially when you're a larger woody shrub. Now we're still in coastal sage scrub, but higher up we will be merging into chaparral. There will be chaparral higher up. Yeah, the trail's as beautiful as usual. Well, even some Southern California virgin boas or Southern California clematis. Clematis passiflora. I see that one quite often. The other clematis species, Ligusticifolia and Lasiantha, I don't see those as often. Usually more in the mountains, usually. Typically higher up. And we got some red monkey flower already starting up. Right here. Diplochus puniceus. Already starting up. Well, it might be australis. It might be Diplochus australis. I'll have to double check. Definitely Diplochus puniceus and Diplochus australis are two monkey flower species. One of them I think is a hybrid, the australis. That might be more australis than puniceus. Puniceus tends to be darker red. All right. Of course, lemonade berry already starting to bloom. These incredibly very warm January we've had has fooled a lot of these plants to think it's spring. And for all intents and purposes, it may as well just be spring. I don't see any chillier weather outbreaks coming in the foreseeable future. And even the narrowleaf bedstraw is starting to bloom too. It's hard to see on camera because the flowers are so tiny. This is Gallium angustifolium, subspecies angustifolium. Another common plant in chaparral and coastal sage scrub here in the lower elevations. And we've got a branch of a spiny redberry here. It's already got new leaves and flower buds on it. Now we're starting to get some chaparral shrubs. Of course, the king of the chaparral right here, common chamise, Adenosoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. So yeah, pretty cool stuff as we climb the ridge towards Kwaay Paay Peak. See you along the way. More updates and botanical finds. Here we are, coming up into the chaparral now. Of course, one of coastal and foothill San Diego counties' common chaparral shrubs, the Mission Manzanita, Psilococcus bicolor. Very common here in Mission Trails. There's some pretty extensive stands of it coming up from the Mesa and Big Rock trails up towards Coles Mountain. If you ever take that route from Big Rock Park or the Mesa Trailhead, you'll see huge Mission Manzanitas there. Huge Mission Manzanitas. Some more chamise. Already starting to smell the black sage in the air too. Very gently rub a wintergreen leaf and enjoy it. Very enjoyable fragrance. When it's dry during the summer, you have to rub the leaves a little bit harder, but always be careful not to accidentally rip the leaf off. But you have to rub it a little bit harder when it's dry. But now, after the rains of Christmas to early January, they're still pretty green, despite the last few weeks of very dry weather. On a very warm day, the smell, the aroma, very powerful. Hiking is later today, when it's going to be hot, which is not really advised. Probably be very fragrant. Hey, these Mission Manzanitas still have a few flowers on them. Little bell-shaped flowers, common in the Ericaceae, the heath family, to which this plant belongs. Oh, we're starting to already get a few blooms on the woolly ceanothus. I'm not surprised. Ceanothus tomentosus. Camera will not do this justice. Camera does not do it justice. Camera makes things look a little more pale, but they are a bright purplish blue. We're already starting to see a few blooms. I don't know if this is going to be a spectacular bloom season or not. I'm not sure. But they are starting. They are starting. So we're just about to reach the plateau, the last plateau before the last major summit push. And then there'll be one plateau towards the summit where it's very easy walking. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be a full-blown bloom spectacular this year. This is a little bit earlier than usual, but plants think it's spring already. But still very cheerful, very beautiful is Ceanothus tomentosus. 2023 was an insane year for Ceanothus tomentosus. I came across a lot of lower elevation hikes that year, and boy, was it spectacular. In fact, if you want to check one video where Ceanothus tomentosus was explosive, check my Iron Mountain hike from February 21st, 2023. The hillside was blue because there's so much Ceanothus tomentosus near Iron Mountain over in Poway. And other videos from February and March of 2023. Look for around that time on my channel if you want to see videos of it in bloom. Insane bloom, that is. Definitely a spectacle. January, the end of January 2023, they were already blooming, and that's when I did my spotlight video for it. If you want to see that as well, for general characteristics of the plant. So here we are. This is like my little break spot before we climb up that. We're gonna go right up to that point right there. That's probably one of the most difficult parts of the hike. So come up to this little spot here. Is a good place to catch your breath. So you gotta go up that, right up to that point there, and then some more uphill, and then it's gonna be quite gentle when you get to the summit plateau area. It's a very gentle walk the rest of the way. Yeah, look at South Fortuna right there. Look how beautiful that is. Very beautiful view of South Fortuna Mountain. And of course, its higher big brother right there, North Fortuna. And of course, I always have to stop off and admire this scrub oak. And it's pretty sure this is a Quercus acutidens right here. One of the few scrub oaks I see along this route here. So yeah, so we definitely got some work to do. That part right there is pretty slow going. It's very steep, and it's very steep on the way down too. So I'm going to be taking my time going up and down that, of course, especially going down that. And then I'm just going to maybe take a few pictures here and start getting ready to climb up that part right there. All right, there's a little plateau section where I took my last clip and break, real short one. So this is kind of what you're facing when you make the last big summit push. A lot of really high steps. So if you've got short legs, this is where you're really going to get a good workout. But the payoff will be at the top when you see those views. But that's only part of the payoff. Along the way up this, maybe steep and stuff, but you're also going to end up hiking in a really dense grove of tall chaparral. So it's actually a very beautiful and quite luxuriant hike when you get to this part here. So Obviously, keep your mind on where you're stepping so you get up these steps okay. But take time to stop and admire, especially from late winter to early mid-spring when things are blooming here. Again, Ceanothus tomentosus. There's quite a bit of it along this stretch up towards the Summit Plateau region, so take time to enjoy that. Take time to enjoy some of the lusher trailside vegetation. Again, some more pentagrama ferns. That grow on these shadier slopes underneath these shrubs. It's kind of like a miniature woodland or miniature forest in this section, so take some time to enjoy that as you step up. Like I said, steps are pretty high, so if you got short legs, just take your time. Take your time. Enjoy more spiny cucumber, which is really coming to life over here. Maura microcarpus. Really blooming pretty fiercely over here. And there's something interesting here. Got some more Ceanothus tomentosus, but I think they got some white flowers on them. Okay. This is a little different. They have a little bit of bluish in them, but these ones are whiter. Okay, see, this is cool. Every time I come up this trail, I always find some pretty cool things. These Ceanothus flowers tend to be a little whiter. There's still some blue in them, bluish purple, but there's more of a whitish hue to this one here. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. A little bit of variability in our Ceanothus tomentosus. This shrub here has a little more white in it, which is pretty cool. You're used to purplish blue. So yeah, like I said, this might be the toughest part of the hike, both up and down, but it's also a really good place to see wildflowers on the shrubs. And of course the spiny cucumber vines. You should take some time to appreciate the micro details of this part of the trail as you're climbing up this. Every time I go up this part, the lusher chaparral up here always gets to me. Look at the leaves on these spiny cucumbers. Very beautiful. Very beautiful micro details here. All right, see you on the next clip. All right, so the last picture was after taking the last step on the steepest part of this hike. Still some uphill. Obviously, we're not at the summit, but a lot gentler. But I'll tell you, that steep section sure is beautiful. Very beautiful. It's always one of my favorite parts of this hike. Here we go. White flower currant, Ribes indicorum. White flower currant blooms more in winter than spring, but yeah, have that along this trail too. Chaparral yucca, pretty neat. All right, should be nearing the summit pretty soon. Won't be much longer. Should be at the peak pretty soon. Just a very gentle uphill now. All right. about the summit, Kwaay Paay Peak. It's actually kind of nice to wind down as you approach the summit with a nice little stroll in the chaparral. It's got a little ways to go. Not much difference. Just not much difference between here and the summit. Just a short, almost level stroll. We're just very gently, slightly slanted uphill. Oh, it's fragrant up here. I'm glad we have black sage growing here. We're so blessed to have that plant growing here. That fragrance just triggers so many memories of good times on trail here in Southern California. It also grows up to, I think, at least towards the Bay Area as well. So anywhere in coastal California, coastal Southern and Central California, it's a blessing to have. Alright. Very gentle, easy uphill walk. Almost feel like you're level, especially after the big Stairmaster. Very gentle uphill walk the rest of the way to the top. Alright. Now the actual true highest point is in the fence. The true highest point is up that way. But again, Mission Trails, you're not supposed to go off trail here, so this rock will be my high point. Highest point is right where the shrubs are, next to the sun. So, step on top of this boulder. Alright, this is it. Kwaay Paay Peak, 1,194 feet. Like I said, I'm not going to go blaze a pathway to over there, but this rock is my summit. Alright, as is customary, time for the summit views. But I'm going to do it not from the top of this really small rock, so I don't end up tripping. Okay, let's go start off by looking north. We get some pretty good deep views because it's a relatively clear morning, not too much haze yet. So way off in the background, Black Mountain over in Rancho Penasquitos, second highest point in the city of San Diego, behind Coles Mountain, which will be behind me. And I can see way out in the haze, hard to see on camera, Santiago Peak, the high point of the Santa Ana Mountains, highest point in Orange County as well. And then, of course, North Fortuna Mountain. Now start tilting it to the northwest, and there is South Fortuna Mountain just below us. And then, whoops, I always do that. I'm never paying attention when I do this. And there's Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. All those white buildings and stuff, hangars for their jets. And then we got University Town Center, La Jolla. And then, looking a little more west right now, you can see Soledad Mountain, La Jolla to the right, Claremont just below Soledad, in front of Soledad, University City, Kearney Mesa, and then the neighborhood closest to us over these small emerald hills here is Tierra Santa. we'll swing it to the southwest. You can see over by Pacific Beach. And then the downtown area with Point Loma behind it. And then Las Islas Coronados out there, part of Baja. And you can see some of the coastal highlands above Tijuana and above Rosarito. And then over here, Chaparral. Now we're going to swing it to the east. You can kind of see Cuyamaca Peak peeking over the Chaparral. There's Cuyamaca. And then the Vulcan Mountains. Oh, and I can even see out by Hot Springs Mountain. And I can even see Toro Peak. Way out there. And of course the good old Poway Range. You know, I always point this out over towards our northeast now. Looking over towards Iron Mountain on the right. North Iron Mountain on the middle. And of course, Woodson Mountain over on the left. With the big long ridge of Palomar Mountain. I was just there a few days ago. Looking down below is California 52. And then right there in center is the South Sycamore Canyon landfill site. And I can even see Twin Peaks and Boulder Mountain over in Poway. Let's see. Right there in the center, the middle background, the far background is obviously Palomar Mountain. Or actually, that part there is Agua Tibia Mountain, and then Palomar is over here. But yeah, that's Twin Peaks. Did that hike back on January 8th. Twin Peaks, and I went to Boulder Mountain, which is to the left, just barely to the left of it. And in that right there is Margarita Peak in the Santa Margarita Mountains. Oh no, I'm tripping. No, that's not. No, I'm tripping. That's definitely not it. I'm not sure what that one is. I'm not sure what that one is, to be honest with you. I'm tripping. And we're back there to the north. So yeah, it's pretty good views. Actually, it's slightly better views. You also have some views more out to the east. When you're going down. When you're going down, you'll have some better views off to the east and southeast, where you can see Corte Madera Mountain, Los Pinos Mountain, in the backcountry of the Cleveland National Forest. And we got some good views down to Oak Canyon too. Very good views down to Oak Canyon. That right there, before the 52, is Hill 619. I have a video for that one if interested. Hill 619. You can't actually get to the actual top of it without bushwhacking and breaking the rules of the park. But I got to the highest point you can get on trail. And then Spring Canyon is just over this way. So Spring Canyon is another really cool place to visit. Right down there is Spring Canyon, below the Sycamore Canyon site. And then there's the jagged part of South Fortuna right there. Just on the other side of this is where the big Stairmaster goes up, climbs up towards it, get up towards there, and then you follow the ridge to the top of South Fortuna Mountain. Pretty cool. And of course, Mission Trails benchmark right here. Get my shadow out of the way. Let me see. It used to be called No Name Mountain. Guess this mountain was for sale in the early 1980s. Somebody bought this mountain and called it Kwaay Paay, which is the Kumeyaay Native Americans for chieftain, in 1994. The last year I lived in San Diego before moving to Orange County when I was a preteen. Granitic rock quarries operated in the Mission Gorge area, and the light gray plutonic igneous rock was used to construct roads, buildings, jetties, and dams, and bay breakwater for the San Diego Bay. Okay, so on the southwest face of this is I guess the legacy of the rock mining quarries that used to be done on this peak. So he has no name mountain. So I guess back in the 80s, sorry for the sun. Back in the 80s, I guess this mountain was for sale. If I were of age back then and had enough money, I'd love to buy my own mountain. That'd be fun. Have my own mountain. Of course, I would use my money to turn it into a preserve or something. That's what I would do if I were able to buy a mountain. I'd turn it into a preserve and protect it. Maybe I probably would allow access to the public, maybe via trail, as long as people are respectful. See, there's where there is a quarry right there. There's a quarry there, just underneath Hill 781 or Hill 787. That's Hill 787 right there. So yeah, you can see where there's actually an active mining quarry. Yeah, right down there again. There's Mission Gorge Road. There's Mission Gorge Road, which cuts underneath it. And yeah, right under Hill 787. Hey. Yeah, I kind of wanted to respect some of the other hikers' privacy. Not getting them in my shot, but yeah, as I was saying, that good igneous rock really getting mined out of the side of Hill 787. And you can get to see the San Diego River down there. I can see quite a bit of water down there. You can see some water neatly from up here. Yeah. It's such a neat little peak. Some pretty good views up here. Man, you can see all the way out to Santiago Peak, the high point of Orange County. I don't think you can quite see to the Angeles National Forest. I think I can very carefully with my eyes, I might be able to see out by Mount San Antonio. But I'm not sure. I don't know why I thought that was Margarita Peak. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, the one in front of it's definitely Twin Peaks. You can see all the way out by Boulder Mountain and everything. So do one more shot out that way. So yeah. Yeah, that's more in the medium background is Twin Peaks to the right and Boulder Mountain on the left. That was a pretty decent hike. That was actually quite a doozy hike I did. That was my first hike in 2026, so I started out my year pretty good on that one. Pretty proud of myself on that one, going all the way to Boulder. Oh, so we have this growing here too on Kwaay Paay. I never knew this. I never seen it before on Kwaay Paay, but right down here, right in the center is an Eastwood manzanita. I didn't know we had that on Kwaay Paay Peak. See, every time I come up here, there's always a surprise. Always a surprise, no matter what. Right there, Arctostaphylos glandulosa, subspecies glandulosa. It is scattered here in the park. Usually see it between Coles Mountain and Piles Peak. And again by North Fortuna Mountain. Didn't know it grew here in Kwaay Paay. Well, yeah, there's one Eastwood manzanita growing there. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool find up here. Like I say, you go into the interior hills and stuff like that, it's a dime a dozen Eastwood manzanita. Very important shrub here in Southern California. And California in general. I'm super super common, at least in my experience, closer to the coast. Wow, yeah, pretty good views. I'll point out some more stuff on the way back, so I'm going to start getting ready to head back. And see you on the way back. So, I'm still on the summit plateau, starting to head back. I did say I was going to point out views towards the other directions that were blocked off by the high chaparral. So, let's get some easterly and southeasterly views. We're looking off here to the northeast, east-northeast. There's El Cajon Mountain, Kwaay Paay Peak, Viejas Mountain. Try to see if I can cover the sun a little bit. And you can see out by those pinos. Sorry about the sun glare, but you can see out by Gaskell Peak and Los Pinos and Corte Madera. Hopefully it came up okay on camera. There's a lot of sun glare over there. The sun's still pretty low in the sky. Yeah, kind of. There. Look at the trunks of this old black sage right here. That thing is massive. Look at how huge that trunk is. Salvia mellifera. Wow. That's crazy. Wow. So I'm making my way down the steep, the summit push section, the big stairwell. Now I'm starting to catch a whiff of the slight perfumey aroma of Ceanothus, the Ceanothus tomentosus. Starting to catch that aroma. It's not a heavy perfume, but it's here, all right. Wow, pretty cool. So yeah, starting to work my way down this. Taking my sweet time down this stairwell. This isn't as extensive as the one up to South Fortuna Mountain, but this one is pretty steep. So just take your time. It's not a race. Like I said, there's a lot to appreciate along this trail. Be back at the plateau section in a couple minutes. All right, see you down the way. Can't get enough of that view down the San Diego River Gorge right there. Can't get enough of that. Look at that. That is a sick view. All those cottonwoods, oaks, and sycamores and willows. Wow. That's quite a delectable scene there. And that's kind of where the Oak Canyon Trail starts going towards Oak Canyon down there. And that's the grassland section right there, that meadow. Mostly non-native grasses, of course, but wow, that's pretty cool. You do get some pretty good views before you even hit the peak when you're climbing up. You just gotta look around and appreciate and enjoy it. All right, so I'm just about to hit the small plateau section and then start descending a little bit more. Just had to show that view. The view is really nice. Pretty cool view. Good viewpoints up here. That's the lower part of Oak Canyon. And in the more rugged part of Oak Canyon, kind of curves between Hill 619 and underneath North Fortuna. Man, that is such a sick view. All right, back at the plateau. I'll see you on my next clip. All right, making my way down. Enjoying some of the laurel sumacs we have along this trail too. Of course, you know me. I gotta point out laurel sumac is one of my favorites. What am I saying? Pretty much all my favorites. This is a beautiful trail. It's like one of the reasons why I come back. It's a relatively quick peak climb. You know me, I love summiting things. Yeah, I just love the scenery up here. It's a nice little challenge. Let's get some views of here. Wow. All right. You know, being a fan of the chaparral is obviously a big thing for me. So yeah, just making my way down. Yes, indeed. Kwaay Paay Peak Trail. It's a very good way to get a good summit climb in, get some exercise, fresh air, and enjoy some coastal sage grub and chaparral and wildflowers in season. Yes, indeed. Well, still got a little bit to go down, but keep you updated with some probably shorter clips on the way back. More laurel sumac, of course. There's a nice little stretch right here. Here. Okay. Wow. Oh, I just like this height. Just like it. Let me go down this way. All right. Might take the other trail down. Let's see. Let's see. Let me take this one. Look at that view. Crazy. So I'm going down. I think this is the way I went down the last time I did Kwaay Paay. So I'll take this route down again, just like the last time I did Kwaay Paay, just for a little extra scenery on the way back. We're gonna be going down this, we'll be going through this, around this canyon here, and then we'll end up on the stretch of trail near the condominiums over there. So we're gonna cross this gulch right here. There's already a lizard out. Okay. There's already a lizard. Yeah, I like this scenery here. I like this gully. Let me get to this little footbridge. Maybe take a couple pictures, because this is a cool shot right here. Gullies, I love the shape of these gullies. I'm gonna go take a picture or two. All right, so yeah, across this little footbridge here. Yeah, little gullies kind of make the scenery so pretty. Little mini canyons and gulches. Bet you after a really good rain, you probably get water trickling through there sometimes. Immediately after a really good rainfall. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, this is the trail I did last time I did Kwaay Paay. Let's see, I think I go up this way. Yeah, it's definitely a pretty alternative. Got less than a half mile to go before this thing is done. I figured, yeah, let's go take a slightly different route back. Look at this big spiny red berry here. Ooh, wee. Yeah, buddy. This is a beauty right here. There's the trail junction right there. I was almost just gonna do a simple out and back, but figured I'd spice it up again like last time. Go down a slightly different way. Some good views down in this small canyon here. Wow. Nice. I think I'm gonna be shooting as much on the way down, but when you got scenery like this, you gotta share it, especially with people who might have never climbed Kwaay Paay Peak. If you haven't climbed Kwaay Paay Peak, hopefully scenery like this is inspiration for one to get out here. Yeah, we're heading for that condominium community down there. But yeah, this little bit here, you get that small canyon, little gully opening up to a nice little canyon. We're gonna be heading down for a pathway that's gonna go along that. All right. Let's see on the next clip. We can even see the lagunas way out in the distance. That's where I was yesterday afternoon. The Laguna Mountains over there. All right, I'll see you on the next clip. Okay, here we go. Right by the condos. Here we are. Kwaay Paay East Trail. We'll just follow this going down. Probably see, we're at the head of that little small canyon when I took the east trail down. The cool thing is, in a few minutes, I'm going to be at the mouth of the canyon. I was at the head of the canyon when I took the trail junction, and I'm going to be at the mouth of it. Look at this. Sparrows galore. Of course, we've got the non-native stuff. Of course, sugar gum, Eucalyptus cladocalyx, Canary Island pine, and its Mediterranean close relative, the Aleppo. A couple of decent-sized Aleppo pines along this path too. So yeah, in a couple of minutes we're going to be at the mouth of this small canyon. Might be able to get some good photo ops. Let's see. Well, I can't stop ogling this gorgeous Aleppo pine. Dang, this thing's gorgeous. It's a pretty big one too. They're not known to be extraordinarily large trees, but this would be considered a medium-sized tree. A mourning dove. There it goes. And of course, again, more Canary Island pines. Straight and narrow, I like this one. This one's a young tree. Oh, gorgeous tree. Native broombackers right there. Lemon bottle brush. Melaleuca citrina. Oh yeah, yeah. Look at this Aleppo. Wow, it's like a two-trunk specimen here. This is another beautiful tree. It's from the Mediterranean and Middle East. Wow. There's even a bigger one up ahead, I remember. And then here's the other bottle brush, Melaleuca viminalis. And then of course next to it, the leafless American sweet gums. Leafless for winter time. All right, so now we are at the mouth of that canyon I've been checking out. Now we get to see it looking up it. Cool. I love these little gullies and ravines. They all have such character to them. I love these. Love the, like I said, micro details are big. I'm very big on micro details. Very big on micro details. Well, we got some sycamores up ahead too. I'll see you when I'm over there. Here we are. Platanus racemosa, California sycamore. And it's winter leafless state. They're gonna be leafing out early this year because it's been an incredibly hot winter. They ain't gonna be leafless much longer. But very handsome tree. And a little native flavor, or extra native flavor. Quercus agrifolia variety agrifolia. The Coast Live Oak. Very nice looking tree. And I told you I was going to be ogling another Aleppo pine, but yeah, this is a big Aleppo pine. Look at the base on this tree. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I've seen this tree before. But, oh man, this thing is massive. And we got a mix of Aleppo and Canary Island pines. And here, we got a red willow. Yeah, I remember this red willow. I've seen this tree. This is a pretty decent sized red willow too. Salix laevigata. This is a pretty big one. That's a pretty big red willow. It's a pretty tall one. It's probably at least 70 feet tall, which is pretty decent for a willow. And we got some more beautiful Platanus racemosa, California sycamores. What I think about this trail, you do get a little tree action at the end if you come down this way. Some pretty cool rock outcrops up there too. All right, time for a picture. All right. Oh, this little sycamore woodland here is so beautiful. We are about to reach Father Junipero Serra. And we got some Fremont cottonwoods too. Yeah, that's where it went up. Right there. That's the way it went up. So I made a little loop in the end. But yeah, let's admire these Fremont cottonwoods here. Pretty nice. Okay. Give me time to bank her right. right here. We're getting pretty close to the Brushy Hill trailhead. We'll be back in about a minute. Okay, I'm about to enter the parking lot right now. There's a lot of traffic in here. Okay. And here I am, back at the trailhead. Alright, this is going to do it for today. Thanks for coming along with me to Kwaay Paay Peak. And I'll see you on my next hike. Thanks for watching.